Mr. President, I realize that a scheme has been concocted on the debt ceiling that allows Democrats to go into this next election continuing to ensure that spending to many of their constituents is at levels that please them, therefore allow them to run successfully in 2012. And that scheme also allows Republicans to run in 2012 with spending being the issue. So I think we all understand that, look, the debt ceiling is going to be increased, and it's going to be increased in such a way that both sides of the aisle have the ability to campaign against the other respective to their bases. But the fact of the matter is, Mr. President, our great nation is in decline because of the elected leaders in Washington. Our great nation is in decline because of this body and the way it's acting, the House of Representatives and the way it's acting, and the White House and the way that it is acting. So this body today, as we meet and go into a spending bill, is helping our great nation go into decline. And let me explain why. Maybe the debt ceiling was the wrong place to pick a fight as it related to trying to get our country's house in order. Maybe that was the wrong place to do it. The reason it was chosen is because this body hasn't passed a budget in 806 or 7 days. And I credit both sides for that. But the fact is that the United States Senate hasn't passed a budget in over 806 days. I had a dinner this week, Monday night. I had dinner with 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans. I won't mention their names to impugn them in any way. But all of them expressed tremendous frustration with the way this body is being run. Basically, most senators in this body are nothing but two-bit pawns. As a political fight is underway, basically to lay out the groundwork, if you will, for a 2012 election. I mean, that's what's really happening right now in this body, and I think we all know that. And yet, yesterday, we voted to move to a spending bill where we in essence are acting as accomplices. We're accomplices to this. Presiding officer and myself, I voted against it. But anybody who votes to go to a spending bill without forcing the United States Senate to come to terms with a budget is in essence an accomplice to allowing the shenanigans that are taking place right now to continue. We are allowing this great nation to go into decline by not forcing us to make those tough decisions. The reason the debt ceiling was chosen is because there hasn't been any other mechanism to cause us to sit down and make those tough choices as it relates to spending here in our country. Because we were unwilling to do that, many people lined up, matter of fact, Democrats and Republicans. There's a gang of 6 that had been working, 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats. It's my sense that they too had planned to use the debt ceiling vote as a place to try to cause us to come together around something that might be sensible for our country. We haven't seen the details of that. I hope we'll see that soon. But my point is both sides of the aisle actually had focused on this debt ceiling vote, or many people on both sides of the aisle, to try to cause us to have the fiscal discipline we need to have in this country. Obviously, with this new scheme, that's not going to happen. I think we all know the debt ceiling is going to be raised. Blame will be assessed to either side. Both sides will use that in the 2012 election. And then we'll move on to another cycle where probably we will continue to be irresponsible. But the fact is that this body today, by moving to a spending bill without a budget, everyone who agrees to do that, every single person in this body who agrees to move to a spending bill, no matter what it's funding or no matter at what level it's funding the things it's funding, every one of us is an accomplice in causing this great nation to decline, every single one of us. So I would urge people in this body who would like to see us actually do our work calls us to function the way the Founding Fathers had created this body, calls us to function in a way that no longer allows our country to be in decline, I would urge everybody in this body to not agree to go to this spending bill and to say that we will not spend any more of the United States resources, taxpayers' resources, without first agreeing to those tough decisions. I love seeing some of the masters of the universe on some of these financial programs in the morning. I heard one of them this morning on a particular program that sometimes I turn on to see what the markets are doing in reaction to the ridiculous, undisciplined nature of this body. I heard one of them say that, the debt ceiling is no place. Most countries don't even vote on a debt ceiling. What they do is they vote on budgets. In this country, we don't even vote on budgets. And of course, we figured out a way to really not make any tough decision on the debt ceiling vote either. And I understand what's getting ready to happen. But again, to all those folks that aren't head of this body, that aren't in leadership, who in the bathrooms or in the halls or at dinner or at lunch complain about the fact that this place is dysfunctional, complain about the fact that they really don't have the ability to be involved in causing us to function in the way that we should. Every single one of you, in my opinion, that votes to go to a spending bill today or in debate on a spending bill, in essence, allow us to pass a spending bill, is an accomplice in allowing this great nation to go in decline. Now, that's pretty strong, but I believe it. The fact is that we make a big deal out of some items around here, but we don't make a big deal when it comes to something that we can actually affect and cause us as a body to do the things that we need to do. So, Mr. President, our presiding officer, look, I'm very disappointed in the United States Senate. I'm very disappointed in the White House. I'm very disappointed in all of us. I'm very disappointed in the childish behavior that this body has continued to exude over the course of this entire year. I'm very disappointed that we would even consider going on with spending taxpayer resources and not sitting down and making tough decisions. I'm very disappointed, candidly, that both sides of the aisle only want it their way. I don't think this great country was created the way that it was so that one side of the aisle got it exactly the way they wanted it. I think this body was created to be, quote, the greatest deliberative body in the country, and yet we don't do that. We don't act that way. We don't debate tough issues. We hide, all of us, we hide, and we let our leadership concoct ways to keep us from doing the tough things that we need to do. The fact that we can't even have a budget on this floor to come out of a committee when obviously there is a majority, and I'm not even pointing fingers at the other side. I think both sides are equally problematic in this because both sides, it's evident to me, are going to allow us to go to a spending bill today without a budget. But the fact that we can't even bring a budget to the floor when committees are stacked in such a manner that one side does have the majority, to me is an incredible thing. So, this United States Senate, if we move to a spending bill today without a budget, if we continue to do the things that we do here, just without worrying about the fundamentals of what it takes for this country to be great, this body today will move one step closer, one step further down the path of causing this great nation to go in decline, to keep us from making tough decisions, to allow committee heads or subcommittee heads in appropriations to be able to bring forth their fruit, if you will, the things that they would like to spend money on. By the way, I support much. Probably support everything that's in this bill. I'm not sure. Supports veterans, supports military construction. But the fact is that actually the very people that this benefit, the people who have been veterans in the past, the people who have given of their limbs, some of them loved ones, they probably are embarrassed by the United States Senate too. Even though they'd like to receive the benefits at some point in time down the road when these benefits come to fruition in this next fiscal year, they'd like to receive those. They probably would prefer first that all of us in this body do our jobs, that we quit acting like the children we've been acting like this entire year, that we quit calculating what we're going to do around the 2012 elections, that we quit hiding behind our leadership and allowing them to go down and negotiate grand bargains in private, that we quit again hiding from tough decisions. So, Mr. President, I hope today that others will join with me and that we will not end debate on this bill. Let me put it this way. If we don't do that, in other words, if we proceed with spending in this bill, I sure hope that all those who vote to do so will stop talking in private about how embarrassed they are about this United States Senate, will stop talking in private about how they feel like little pawns in a political game, will stop talking in private about how they would like to see this body start acting in the fashion that it should act. We haven't done any real business this year. We all know it. We haven't done any real business this year because we haven't wanted to take on those tough issues. I'm embarrassed by that personally. I'm embarrassed about the way this United States Senate has been conducting its business this year. Mr. President, I'm not going to vote for a spending bill until we pass a budget. If we had passed a budget and had the tough debates about revenues and expenditures, we wouldn't be in this no-win situation we're in right now as it relates to the debt ceiling, and we all know that, but we want to hide behind that.